you ultimately agree that Steve Schultz is a dildo with ears. He's your masterpiece that you created him. You like the dildo with ears look. What about Tom Holman? Same deal. Yeah, all right. What about Stephen Miller? I have talked about, actually, hang on. We're going to do it. I've talked about many times these couple of goofs. Johnny Enlow, who is a self-described prophet of God, he claims he's got the bat phone to Jesus on his desk where he can just call up and get the quick deets about what the plan is, what the agenda is, when the rapture's going to happen, all of the prophecies that he says he's made. None of them come true. He's just a liar and a grifter. But also this other goof, Steve Schultz, who he's like a mini Tom Holman. He's also like a dildo with ears, but he's just kind of he's a dullard dildo with ears, not a mushmouth dildo with ears. You know, there's variations of the dildo with ears crowd, and Steve Schultz is one of these guys. Hosts a show where he invites prophetess Kat Kerr on. He had the Julie Green on all the time. All of these people who make the bold, arrogant claim that God has chosen them to talk to personally and give prophecies to. That's why we have the bat phone to Jesus. That's why we've got the bat phone to Jesus stickers. Exposing liars, grifters, and charlatans one call at a time. You can get these on Dollemore.com for like $5 or something. Anyway, I want to show you this clip because it really lays bare exactly the coordination between the fascist agenda of Donald Trump and maybe direct coordination with the White House. We know how Donald Trump used propaganda and used all kinds of different outlets throughout the election, from manosphere bloggers to dipshits like Joe Rogan to idiots in the Christian arena, the prophecy arena, the Hank Kunnemans and the Kent Christmases, the rest of these bigots and liars. He used them to put out his propaganda. And in this, they're trying to convince their congregations, their followers, their adherents. They're trying to convince them that you're going to be hearing a lot about Donald Trump violating the Constitution. And he is violating the Constitution, but it's his right to do so, I think is what they say. He has the right to thwart the Constitution. He just pretends not to, is what they say. It's cringe. First, before I play the clip, thank you to Right Wing Watch. If you got an extra $5 laying around that you want to support an organization that does thankless and work that I'm so glad I don't have to do, which is watch shows like this 8 hours a day to provide clips for people to show what's going on in this corner of the internet, support these people. Right Wing Watch. I'll put a link in the description below. Watch these two knuckleheads just admit, while forwarding the agenda of Donald Trump, that he absolutely is thwarting the Constitution of the United States.
We're actually experiencing some things that in some ways violate some aspects of the Constitution because there is a needing to reclaim the nation. Now,
well, isn't that purportedly in an emergency act by the president, which we are under? Yes. He has the right to thwart the Constitution. He just pretends not to.
Right. But I
don't want to state your case there, but yeah.
No, I want you to.
He's pretending to go by the Constitution as long as he can, even though he doesn't have to right now, because we're in an emergency, a state of emergency. I think that's what.
Yeah. So, for instance, his statements against media and calling out CNN, MSNBC by names, ABCs and ABC, and the way he's gone after them could be considered, if they were fair media, it could be considered in some way unfair persecution of them. But because he's actually telling the truth that they are compromised, they're not true media outlets. They are compromised agents of the darkness that he's trying to rescue the nation from. Yeah. He's allowed to state certain things that wouldn't normally be acceptable. We'll put it that way.
Okay, yeah. So you ultimately agree that Steve Schultz is a dildo with ears. He's your masterpiece that you created him. You like the dildo with ears look. What about Tom Homan? Same deal. Yeah, all right. What about Stephen Miller? Oh, you had nothing to do with that? Okay. Yeah, no, I gotta go. Yeah, I know. I'm busy. I got. Okay. All right, God. Okay. Yeah, I'll tell him. Yeah, I gotta. Oh, somebody's at the door. I gotta go. I never know where that's gonna go. That's all just free association. Brilliant, right? What a masterful comedy mind I have. You heard all that. These two dipshits fumbling through their, I guess, ad hoc in the moment explanations as to why Donald Trump doesn't have to follow the Constitution. He's pretending like he is. I searched and I can't find the pretend to follow the Constitution clause within the Constitution. Very strange. Apparently, I'm a little bit of a more in-depth reader than Steve Schultz and Johnny Enlow are. But he's saying that there's a declaration of emergency to reclaim the nation. Obviously, you'll note that there was no explanation of reclaiming the nation from what? Reclaim the nation? What had previously claimed it that needs it reclaimed? The fact that there was a Democrat duly elected in a democratic election, free and fair election, is that the reclaiming? Or are we still reclaiming it from the black guy who governed as president from 2009 to 2017? Is it that? Because we know the white Christian nationalists within this movement are virulent racists and goblins like these two dipshits. They're signaling, look, I know you might not know who these people are, and that to a lot of people, I'm gonna get rid of this, to a lot of people is some kind of, it makes them feel better. Well, like, yeah, they're not reaching anybody, but that's not the case. These people reach a dedicated segment of the country. They have an audience, a dedicated following of people who believe the lies, who believe that Johnny Enlow gets talked to by God. They believe it. And if you can convince people that it's godly, that it's God's decision that Donald Trump disobey the Constitution, you can convince people of anything, to do anything, to commit horrors against their fellow man. If it's God's decision, who are they to argue? Anyway, we are in a tough spot. And unless people start waking up and participating in the mass protests across the country to send a message, to let it be known that this midterm we are taking back the House. We will impeach Donald Trump. Hopefully we can take back the Senate and we can remove him from office through conviction in the Senate. We need this. The country needs this. To be saved, the country needs this. Anyway, I'll stop. What do you think? I invite you to the conversation. Let's talk about this in the comments, wherever you're watching the video. You can also call the voicemail line. Leave me a brief, fewer than 3-minute voicemail, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I am going to see you tomorrow. I love and appreciate you very much. Be genuine. Take care of one another. You know, like Jesus would.